It was an emotional day in Valencia for two sides who came out ready to meet the moment.
Y se crespó.
A minute of silence, the Valencian community anthem, and a stadium full of Valencians ready to watch football again. And that is ultimately what we got, and what a game we got too. And it started early and often. Valencia came out with energy. They had not played a game in a little less than a month. Of course, the severe flooding postponed two of their league games, including a Copa game, and then a big moment in the city. And it came off of a broken play, the set piece that wound up at the feet of Cesar Tárrega. What a moment for the city. Just 7 minutes into the contest, and Valencia had their lead. It was a poor clearance in the end from Betis. They could not get rid of it, and Tárrega was just in the right place at the right time. A goal for a community that needed it so badly. You almost expected it to come. He wasn't going to miss, and a message for all of those in the area. But there was a quick response for Betis, and first you thought that maybe Abde was going to get in and score, if not for Giorgi Mamardashvili, who made a save to keep Valencia in the lead. Sergi Altimira lofting it over the top, Abde taking it down. Mamardashvili came out wonderfully to make the stop and keep it 1-0. But this has been a theme for Valencia this season, which is why they entered the day 20th in the table, albeit with 2 games in hand. And off of a set piece, Aitor Ruibal sends it in, and Hugo Duro actually puts it home. It's an own goal for Duro. That was just 7 minutes after the goal, and there was no celebration from Betis, only solidarity. Marc Bartra, Ruibal holding up the Valencian flag to show their support for those involved, for those affected. And it forced Valencia to restart and reorganize and find their way back into the game. Betis continued on after that. Another chance came for Abde. Mamardashvili, though, was wise to it. One of the best keepers in the league. Jumped all over this one. Abde had to take it first time. No problems from Mamardashvili this time to keep it 1-1. Continuing along in the first half, Betis again trying to find a way through, and they seemingly got through a Victor Roque. He went himself on this occasion, forcing a save out of Mamardashvili, but it wouldn't have mattered anyway. Roque was indeed offside. This was a 15-20 minute stretch where Valencia seemed to have used up a lot of energy in the early portion of the game. There was a chance right at the end of the first half. The captain, with his second start of the season, Jose Luis Gaya, for Diego Lopez. And he hit the post. Couldn't scrape it in on the inside of the post. beyond Rui Silva. And what could have been 2-1 at halftime made it 1-1 at halftime. So we carried on at the end of the first half. Marc Bartra, who scored the equalizing goal for Betis just before the international break against Celta, couldn't direct this one on target. Half-decent effort for the Betis captain, who was wearing a specialty Betis armband that had the Valencian flag on it. Into the second half we go, and this is where things started to get crazy. The Valencians, well, they started the second half on fire, and they didn't seem to cool down at all. First, Diego Lopez had a chance to do something extra spectacular, but he couldn't pluck this one out of the air. However, a 10-minute span where Valencia's attack turned on. And from there, they never really looked back. First, Javi Guerra's shot was blocked up, and Hugo Duro just waited for it to come down. How about that for a finish? Onside he was, and after the own goal in the first half, he figured he'll get one back to bring himself back to 0. Net positive on its way. 5 minutes into the second half, Valencia had their lead restored. And it's a beautiful goal too, staring directly into the sun too to pick that one out. Duro makes it 2-1. And then only 2 minutes later, how about this pass from Guerra? How intuitive is that? Duro has a lot of work to do. Give me a little chip. And a 3-1 lead. So simple, so sweet, and so fitting and emotional for everybody in Mestalla who needed a moment to animate for their team. It was at this point that you had the gut feeling you knew there was no stopping Valencia on this day. Third goal of the season for Duro, but he wasn't done yet. This is just 3 minutes later, and guess what? Diego Lopez. Oh my goodness. Pick that one out in the top corner and take it with you. A 3-goal lead as Valencia scored 3 goals in the span of 7 minutes. That put away any and all doubt in the game. Lopez with a sweet strike. Beyond the reach of Silva, Mestalla erupts. This was a day for them. Betis were forced into several changes. Matter of fact, Giovanni Lo Celso was ready to check in when Lopez took that shot. Betis couldn't get back into the game at that point. They were struggling, down 3, figuring that they might as well throw caution to the wind. Chemi Avila, Giovanni Lo Celso, and Cedric Bakambu all came on. Avila had an opportunity here as Mamardashvili came off of his post, forcing Mosquera to clean up. Those two have a solid understanding of one another. And then on a bit of a broken play, Betis did find one back that gave them a glimmer of hope that they might actually be able to get back into this game and take something from it. Avila scores Betis' second, the only one that they put into the back of the net. It's his second of the year. And when he scored this goal, there was still a whole lot of time to play. He had over half of an hour from that point forward of game time left. But despite Betis continuing to push forward, there was nothing else from this game that Betis was going to take. And Valencia locked it up defensively. You could say that the goal Avila scored was the one defensive lapse that they had. Beyond that, no problems. The goal scorers got their moment to applaud the fans and thank them for coming out and returning the favor. Duro and Lopez both came off. Hugo Guillamon, Germán Valera, among those subbed on, Dani Gomez as well. From this point forward, it was just about closing out the game. It wasn't without Betis trying to make an effort to get back into it. There was a real chance here for Cedric Bakambu on the cutback, but he skied it. That was the symbol to know that this game was Valencia's to keep. On a day when they needed it most. There was one other chance for Germán Valera, although he would have been offside on this occasion. Tried to stay on, Valera though denied anyway by Silva. 4 goals proved to be enough, and there's a lot of work to do for Valencia, but they climbed themselves into double digits as far as the point total goes. They're now on 10 points through 12 games. They still have 2 games in hand on just about everybody else around them. They still have to play Real Madrid in a makeup game. They still have to play Espanyol in a makeup game. And they still have to play their Copa first round contest, which will happen midweek this coming week. There's one other chance here for Hassan Diao, but he too was offside, which was a common theme of the contest. Betis, meanwhile, suffer their first defeat in more than a month, and they lose the opportunity to jump into the top 6 European spots with this defeat. They are injury riddled as well. They need a lot of players to make their way back. They went into this game with a depleted midfield too. Lo Celso came off the bench. Carlos Guirao made his La Liga debut. But in the end, Valencia did what they needed to do. An emotional victory for them. They win it at Mestalla with 2 goals from Hugo Duro. Final score, Valencia 4, Betis 2.